Hello and welcome back to the Slasher Siblings podcast, and this week we're on Edward Scissorhands. It's made in 1990, it's rated PG-13, it's an hour 45 minutes long, and a 7.9 on IMDb.
And you can watch it on Disney Plus.
Because apparently I just learned that today, because I looked it up and they didn't tell me that. But I know this isn't technically a horror movie, but it has horror aspects and it's Tim Burton, so that counts.
We did it anyway.
Yeah. So for the people that don't know what it's about an artificial man who is incompletely constructed and has scissors for hands, leads a solitary life. Then one day, a suburban lady meets him and introduces him to her world. So this movie is supposed to be like from the view of Edward's eyes. And I'll start off with a trivia, I guess. That's why the town looks so colorful and like fantastical, because this is Edward looking at the town for the first time, like up close or whatever. But the reason it looks so colorful like that is because it's supposed to be from his eyes, which is kind of cool. Okay, since I started off with that trivia, we'll just start into like the scenes and stuff like normal. Do you want to start off talking about scenes you liked and stuff?
So you already know what I'm gonna say. You already know what I'm gonna say. I really like the aesthetic.
Oh, the aesthetic. That's gonna have to be some merch eventually. Just the word aesthetic with Slasher Siblings podcast underneath.
But I love it. Like Joyce's house with the pink carpet.
Yeah.
And all the pink decor. I was like, I kind of really like that. I really like how they decorate their houses, and some people have blue houses, some people have pink houses.
There's green, yellow, pink, blue, and white. I saw a couple white in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really like.
And they all each have like a different color car.
Yeah,
it doesn't match
really
their
like
house.
That too.
So there was like a green house with a yellow car and a pink house with a blue car. Which is kind of cool. It's like kind of like a Easter type of.
Yeah, I like how it was half spooky, half really cute.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what my house looks like at home.
Kind of spooky, kind of cute.
Spooky, kind of cute. So I really like that aspect of it. And Edward Scissorhands, I just think he's kind of adorable.
I mean, Johnny Depp's pretty perfect, so.
But Edward Scissorhands, like the way he acts, and he's just like helpless. I don't know. I would do the same thing, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah,
I'd
definitely.
be like, come on over. Let's start with some skincare.
Skincare. Maybe you can cut my hair.
He was grooming dogs. I was like, that's what I feel like when I groom dogs.
Lab coat, hair flying everywhere.
Yeah, my hair actually looks like that too when I groom dogs.
It looks like that right now, kind of.
It does. Nobody has to know that.
Everyone on the podcast knows that now.
It's alright. But yeah, I like a lot of the scenes are cute. I like when he starts making the hedges, different shapes, and the dolphins and the dinosaurs.
Like the towns.
Yeah, I like that. And I really like that he's a dog groomer as well. I feel like I can relate to that. I like the beginning, the very beginning.
Yeah.
When they go through the factory and they're showing, okay, this guy's, I made him. And they have the cookies and he holds it up to the machine's heart.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's how he was created.
That's how we got the idea.
What scenes did you like?
Well, I always have a lot, but so a lot of this movie, I have a ton of scenes written down as like a funny section that I found was funny, which is a lot of the movie because there's a good bit of comedy that's not like very obvious about it. But I'll start with the scenes that I did really like. I like the very beginning when you're looking at the mansion and it's kind of snowing, and then it kind of looks like a snow globe. Like you shake a snow globe and the little mansion's inside and the snow's falling. I really like that. I like the dark versus light side of the town. It kind of has that feeling of there's dark and all light, and there's some light and darkness kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because like
best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds. There's all that happy light and stuff, but there's always that little bit of darkness, and that signifies to me. Kind of signifies like the mansion's kind of like a little dark place. The town's more of like a happy type light view, I guess you could say.
I'm catching your vibe.
I also like whenever she goes up to the mansion for the first time and you're looking at this dark, dreary, broken, kind of scary mansion. And then she finally gets inside, and there's all these beautiful hedge sculptures and nice looking grass and flowers and all this other stuff. So to me, it kind of symbolizes like inside of darkness, there's always
some beauty.
Some beauty.
Yeah.
On the outside of Edward, he's kind of dark, and some people might think he's ugly, maybe, but on the inside of him, there's a lot of beauty. Because he was just misunderstood. He wasn't evil
he wasn't
or
a bad
mean
guy.
or anything like that. He was a very nice person. He just looked different. And on the inside of him, it was very beautiful. I also like the first look of Edward when you kind of see him like in the window and stuff like that, but you don't get a good look at him. So when she goes up into the attic, I like him like in the corner, like huddled down and scared. And she's being nice to him. She didn't run and scream from him. She was nice and calling to him. And she had like this air that she was presenting of like, I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm not gonna hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
And he could tell, and he kind of like crawled out of the darkness, like him coming out of a cave, out of his shell kind of thing. And that's when he starts, to smile and stuff. So
I really like that she took the chance to go
she
up
didn't
there.
run.
I really like her character. I thought she was a sweet person, and nobody ever gave him a chance until her. And he was never evil. He just
misunderstood.
Yeah, everybody was lying about him and setting him up basically, which is like
sad.
That made me sad.
Yeah. I also love when Edward's in the car and he's so excited and happy to see everything, and he's throwing his hands up, hitting his head on the car because he's just so excited to see all this different colorful stuff that he wasn't able to see. Well, he was able to see from his mansion, but he was never that close to it. He was always looking at it from a distance. So I kind of like to see him all that happy and stuff. The factory, whenever they were cutting out the cookies and stuff, that whole machine, that had the perfect Burton vibe.
Oh yeah.
And it really gave me a vibe of Nightmare Before Christmas. Obviously, it's Tim Burton, so it would be. But like a lot of those things kind of made it seem like they had inspiration from Nightmare Before Christmas, even though I think Nightmare Before Christmas came out in 95. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe Nightmare Before Christmas came out in 95. So it's kind of like like a lot of those machines looked kind of like characters from Nightmare Before Christmas. Like that big one looked like the dude on the tricycle, and then like Lock, Shock, and Barrel kind of looked like the beater ones, and then the little stamping cookie cutter ones kind of looked like the little mummy and the little kids and stuff. Like there was a lot of, it had that very big Burton vibe.
I agree.
I kind of get the sense of that the movie is about finding love in like unfamiliar places, like Kim finding love in Edward Scissorhands, and Edward Scissorhands the same as him, and like Edward finding this family full of love after losing his father the way he did.
Yeah.
Which you obviously see later, and it's very sad, but at this point you didn't know that it was very sad. And he found love after being alone for so long.
And he wasn't human, so who knows how long he was alone for.
Exactly. He could have been...
Because she turned into an old woman, and he was
completely
same.
Normal, yeah. The food scene where they're all at the barbecue and they're shoving food into his face, I very much got the Grinch vibe from that. It seems like the Grinch with Jim Carrey took like inspiration from that scene, just shoving food into the Grinch's mouth.
I thought of the same thing.
That's what I thought. I think of that scene every time I see that movie. I really got that from that scene very much. The burglary scene made me really sad. He looked very helpless, like a trapped animal, which technically he was.
He looked so sad.
I know, he was so sad and scared, and I hate that he wouldn't turn around and go help him. That was his own house. Yeah, like
ridiculous.
I know. It was supposed to make you sad, obviously.
Yeah.
And the arrest scene.
It was effective. Don't worry.
Oh, it was very effective. And the arresting scene when he's in the jail. Like, that made me really sad, too. Everyone thinks that he just broke in there because he wanted to get money, and that wasn't the case.
No.
He broke in because Kim asked him to. He just loved her.
She
That's
never fessed up for it.
Yeah. And he protected her and everything, so that kind of makes you really sad. The other thing about that is you could do 100 nice things but do one wrong thing and everyone turns against you, kind of thing, which is the absolute truth. You could do 100 nice things for somebody, but as soon as you screw up one time, they lose trust in you. That's exactly what was shown in this movie. He cut all of their hedges, cut all their hairs, dogs' hairs, all of it. And he was basically set up to rob Jim's house with Jim, of course. And everyone turned against him, like in the drop of a hat. And it kind of shows like how much the gossip can be spread around.
It was a very gossipy
yes.
neighborhood too, I noticed.
As soon as Jim came on screen, you could instantly tell he was a dick.
Oh yeah.
From the first moment you looked at him, you could tell he was a dick.
What other movies was Jim in?
I don't know, I'd have to look. But I have written that stare that he does at Kim whenever she says I don't love you anymore,
yeah,
instantly proves that he's a dick. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know.
And I mean, there's a lot of evidence that he is, but it was a few scenes that he just looked like an asshole, and that was one of them. So he runs back up to the mansion. You know, there's his hedge statues, or whatever you want to call them, and there's weeds growing out of them because he's been away for a while. To me, the weeds kind of symbolize like the chaos that's happening, because he's creating all these beautiful things, but there's chaos happening all around. And when he comes back to the mansion, there's all those weeds, and it's kind of symbolizing chaos coming through where he's not safe anymore. That's kind of what I got.
And then he makes it beautiful again.
That's right.
Love
and then
that.
Jim's death scene, I just have written, oh well. Because
oh well.
I don't think a single person was sad that Jim was gone.
I think they were just like, oh no, a dead body.
Yeah.
Like nobody cared.
No one really cared that it was Jim. It was just, oh, someone died.
Yeah.
Like, he was an asshole to pretty much everyone, and especially Edward, and he deserved it. Sorry.
And he was trying to kill Edward.
Yeah, for no reason.
And that made me sad too, but
Yeah.
I'm glad Kim stood up for him and protected him.
Yeah, exactly.
Told
I
everyone
also
he's
have
dead.
that it's a nice happy ending.
Yeah.
To all, I mean, it's sad because he got chased out, almost killed. He has to say goodbye to Kim and all this other stuff, but it's a nice little ending to the chaos, turning it back to happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like he lived thinking about that moment forever. It was one of his last memories of the town is him saying goodbye to Kim, and that was a very nice way to end it. I also like how, yes, it's told from Edward's point of view, but I also like the bedtime story angle. I like that it's told from there's not too many movies that do that. I can see the movie in my head, but I can't remember the name of it. I think it's I don't want to say the wrong name and sound like an idiot, but there's a movie that a grandfather is telling a bedtime story to his grandson, and it's the movie. It plays the movie out. You know what I mean?
Did we used to watch it when we were little?
Yeah.
Was it were they in a toy store? Is that the one you're thinking of? Is it Mr. Mongorium's Wonder Emporium?
No, that's a good movie.
That's a good movie.
But no, that wasn't it. I know someone who would listen to this would know what I'm talking about. It's this old grandpa who's reading to his son. It's like an older movie, and his son wants to hear the story. The story is the movie, so it's like the grandfather's reading him a bedtime story, but it's really the movie itself.
It's like
kinda
the Notebook
this.
too. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, kind of. I think so.
No, he's reading her the story of their
Yeah,
love story.
Yeah, I think so.
Very nice.
But some of the things I liked about this movie is I like the direct style. I love Tim Burton's style of directing. I really think that all the movies he directs and the vibes that he puts into it is like a very good way of directing, like a little bit horror, a little bit romance, a little fantasy.
I think it's a good mix.
It's a very good mix, yes.
Both, because
very, very good.
I mean, yeah, people died like in Edward Scissorhands, but like Jim died.
Yeah.
And he was cutting people with his fingers, but there was still a good story about him and how he learned to kind of be normal, and you know, even though I don't even know how to say it, people still did him dirty.
Yeah.
Like Joyce, because he wouldn't have sex with her. She said, you know, he forced himself on me. I was like, oh.
Come on. Really?
Why do you do Edward like that?
Why would you go in and you do that to him?
Makes me sad.
Yeah, I don't like that she did that to him, because it was really her forcing herself onto him. But seeing as how she's like very popular in the neighborhood, and she's a very gossipy woman and all this other stuff, she
she's
just
clearly embarrassed.
Yes.
That he didn't
and everyone believes her because of the fact that she's so popular in the community and whatnot.
Which is lame.
I also like his writing. Tim Burton, and I forget who the other person was that wrote this, but Tim Burton wrote this movie, and everything he writes I very much enjoy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Quentin Tarantino and his movies. I enjoy a lot of things that he's written. Now, I am talking about his 8, like Django and Reservoir Dogs and stuff like that. But he's written other movies with other people.
Yeah.
And he has that kind of sense of directing style. Tim Burton has that exact same directing and writing style that Quentin Tarantino does. They're not similar styles, but like you can tell when Tim Burton has influence in a movie, when Quentin Tarantino has influence in a movie. Like you can very much tell, and I feel like
they both have a set vibe. I feel like we say vibe a lot.
We said vibe like 15 times in this episode, but that's okay. He has a very recognizable style.
Yes.
A very recognizable influence in everything that he directs and writes. I love all the actors. All of them were excellent. Some characters were annoying, like Joyce.
Yeah.
But
I liked her house, but not her.
She did a very good job of bringing that character to life, even though the character was kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say that I especially loved Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They really made this movie. Now, I loved the movie and I loved all the actors in it, but Johnny and Winona really brought this movie to life. And a little trivia just in the middle here, Winona Ryder couldn't actually connect to this character because the last movie she did with Tim Burton was Beetlejuice, and she was Lydia Dietz.
Yeah.
So she was this dark, depressed. And Tim Burton actually said that he thought it was actually really funny to see her try to play this character because she could not connect to it.
Yeah.
She said, which I find that kind of funny too.
I really like the dad.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious.
I like how he accepted Edward so quickly.
Oh yeah.
And he didn't even put up a fight when she brought him home. He's just
like, I'm sitting down at dinner.
Like, all right.
Whatever.
And then they just kind of bonded.
Yeah.
I thought it was...
It was the hedge trimming scene.
Yeah. Yes, that's what it was.
It was that moment that he was kind of like, oh, I like this guy.
I like this guy. He can help out with the landscaping.
So,
for free.
Here are some scenes that I found really funny.
Okay.
We don't have to delve into every single one, but I'm just going to read them that I thought were really, really funny, and then we can pick and choose which ones we want to talk about.
Sounds good.
So I thought the small town gossip and rumors scene was really funny, where they're all like calling each other, like, oh, we saw a mysterious man in her car.
Yeah.
And then they are all running. I'll meet you at the
it?
street corner in 2 minutes or whatever. And they're all running down the street to go look at him and stuff. I thought that scene was really, really funny.
That's like literally what Facebook is.
Yeah, pretty much. And Twitter. Twitter's pretty bad at that too. The way that Edward stares at everything in the house when he goes in for the first time, he's like staring at the smoke detector. And he's like staring at the mirror, like playing with the mirror. Like it's just the way he looks at stuff. And that's why I think Johnny Depp was like so perfect for this.
He had the perfect expression.
I know.
Yes.
The waterbed scene.
Oh my goodness.
When he pokes it and it starts. Yeah, of course. He pokes it and the water starts spraying him, and then he puts the stuffed animal over it. Thought that was hilarious. Him trying to get dressed was hilarious.
Oh my god. And he put his little feet in there.
Yeah, and he just scooted his pants up. And the dinner scene was very funny. I think he's trying to get the peas, and the dad's trying to talk to Ed, and he's like, hey, Ed. And he keeps calling him Ed, and she's like, Edward. And he goes, yes? That was so funny. The makeup scene when she's trying to cover up his scars.
Oh, my goodness.
And this has a hint of lavender. Oh, that looks almost exactly like your face, and it's like purple.
Yeah.
The hedge trimming when he's slowly doing it, listening to the ball game, and then he just comes out and makes this giant dinosaur, and he's like, oh,
would you look at that?
Would you look at that? The voicemail scene was really funny. That she goes, they just filled up the whole tape. And it starts playing a couple of the messages, and I just thought that was so funny. The shish kebab.
Shish kebab.
I thought it was a shish kebab. What? I thought it was shish kebab.
So
yeah,
funny.
it's a shish kebab. I just thought the way Edward was talking with all that food.
I know.
Makes me laugh every time. The scene where he says, where he's talking to his creator, father, or whatever. And he goes, yeah, you can smile. It's funny. And then the smile slowly creeps up his face. I laugh at his face every time. He's like, his torso is not even attached to his legs. He's just sitting on a desk and he's just slowly smiling. It's so funny. The bedroom scene when Kim comes home.
Yeah.
And the axe murderer thing. I thought
and
that
he pokes the bed.
And he's like...
I felt so bad.
The part that gets me every time is when she's screaming in the hallway and he comes out of the bedroom and just like creeps down the hallway.
His little jammies are wet.
I know.
The dad's like, come on, Edward.
The lemonade scene when he sits there groaning and because he's never had like whiskey or whatever.
He literally chugged it.
I know.
Through a straw.
And that whole scene, and then
vomited.
Even the scene where he's cutting the thing, and she goes, "Oh, you want some lemonade?" And he just pukes.
I'm like, you know what? I've been there, done that.
The show and tell scene I thought was really funny too.
Yeah.
He goes, one karate chop, and he could hack your head right off, and he's just like, "Whoa!" So it was so funny. The dog hair when he first cuts the dog, and the hair's flying everywhere.
So cute.
And then it comes around the corner, and she's freaking
out.
Like,
oh my god!
I actually thought that hairstyle was really cool.
I thought it was cute.
Yeah, it was.
It was cute. Might steal that.
And then immediately after that, the grooming and
I love that part. I thought that was so funny.
I know.
And the one dog just looks terrible. And she's like, "Oh, my what's her name? Kisses."
Yeah, Kisses.
It's like, she looks so beautiful. Can you cut my hair?
Looks like a lion.
And then he cuts everybody's hair, and it looks awful. The only person who I thought had like decent hair was the mom.
Oh yeah.
I thought it wasn't
for sure.
too bad. Everyone else was like, oh.
So I have some trivia here.
Okay.
This is the first time that Tim Burton and Johnny Depp worked together, and they became really good friends after this movie. There's a lot of movies that he will just take because Tim Burton directing it and writing it.
How old was he in this movie, Johnny Depp? Do you know?
20, I think.
I was gonna say he had to be young.
I'm pretty sure he was like 20-ish. Although Tim Burton said this isn't his greatest film, he said it is his favorite of all his films. And the score is Danny Elfman's favorite of all his soundtrack compositions.
Oh.
I think the music for this one was excellent.
Yeah.
It had like I said, Nightmare came after this, but there's an influence you can hear in both scores for Scissorhands and Nightmare. You can hear the influence, and it's both Danny Elfman, obviously, but I really like the score in this movie. Tim Burton has never intended to make a sequel, as he said it would rob the film of its purity.
Good.
So what I get out of that is quit while you're ahead is what I get out of it. And I'm really glad that he has that mentality because he made an excellent movie.
Why would you want to do another one?
Why would you want to do another one and possibly screw it up?
He's not going to do it. And I saw on Facebook literally today, they're like, oh, look, he's going to come out with a Beetlejuice 2. I was like, that's not going to happen. There's no way.
I want it to happen, but
I just don't see how, like, you can... Movies like that, how do you do a second one?
I don't know.
Like...
I don't know. But that's what they said about Hocus Pocus.
Listen, I liked Hocus Pocus too. I did.
But that's what I mean. Like, how could you make a sequel? And maybe Hocus Pocus 2 isn't, like, the strongest movie, but there are a lot of elements... I haven't seen it yet, but there were a lot of elements in that movie that I saw a lot of people really like. We'll do that for another time. I
obviously love the first Hocus Pocus, but the second one, like, I don't really enjoy how modern they make some movies.
Yeah.
Like, how they had, like, they took selfies in the movie, and she rode on, you probably saw it in the pictures and stuff, she had 2, like, Roombas.
Yeah.
I don't, like, it's cute.
I thought it was kind of funny. I saw that.
It's funny, but, like, we're gonna look back on that in, like, 20 years and be like, ugh.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, the original is just so good.
Yeah.
Not that I'm, hating on it, but that part about movies these days I don't really enjoy. Like, the whole selfie thing, and, like, obviously I take selfies, but just leave it out of the movies. Just leave it out of the witch movies. How about it?
My next one is that Edward only says 169 words in the film. Doesn't seem like it, does it?
No, not at all.
The houses used in the film were a real community and completely unchanged except for the garish exterior paint.
Oh, wow.
So the houses are real in Tampa, but they repainted the houses. And actually some of the people still lived there while they were painting the houses. and there were some that didn't like it, but they got used to it. They said, and it's still.
I think it's really cool. I would definitely live there.
To
in a
this
pink
day,
house,
apparently,
for
it's
sure.
still painted like that. No one has changed it since, I guess.
I like the style. I do.
Yeah.
I liked seeing the inside of the houses.
The waterbed scene was one of the only scenes that wasn't originally in the script.
Really?
So I'm guessing either A. There's two waterbed scenes that I can think of.
Yes.
And I'm gonna go with the fact that he poked it and put the stuffed animal over it was unscripted, because it would be hard for him to unscript the second one when she comes in the room and starts screaming. That was definitely written in, so it would be the first one when he put the stuffed animal over it. So that's kind of cool too. The neighborhood is based on Tim Burton's hometown of Burbank, California.
Oh wow.
So it must be a lot of gossip running through Burbank.
Yeah.
Especially back then when he was living there and stuff.
It's a very chatty town.
Johnny Depp stated that he cried like a baby when he first read the script.
Oh.
Sweet little Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I cried the first time I watched that movie. I don't know. I feel for characters like him.
The character Peg is based on Tim Burton's mom, who used to bring home strangers. The neighbors are based on people she grew up with as a kid.
Oh my goodness. She was probably such a sweet lady in real life.
Probably.
That makes me happy.
The little blonde boy on the slip and slide at the beginning of the film is Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, no way.
Though uncredited in the film, Carter himself has confirmed this in several interviews. So if you take his word for it...
I love that. I'll
Yeah.
take his word.
Johnny Depp had to lose...
Would a Backstreet Boy lie to you?
Of course. I mean, of course not, but...
There's no way.
Johnny Depp had to lose a reported 25 pounds for the role of Edward Scissorhands.
Oh my goodness.
He was still a little boy. I think he had to have been 20-something.
Had to have been.
Johnny Depp was determined to nail the character and refused any cooling agent, even in his all-leather costume.
Wow.
That had to be hot. It was filmed in North Carolina.
Oh my goodness. I would have passed out.
That's toasty.
And all that makeup he had on too.
Yeah.
And the wig.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god. And the hands? Nope. I couldn't do it. I'd fall over and die.
So for my final... Oh, wait. No, I have two here. I'll save this one for last. So... The first draft of the film was written as a musical, a concept Tim Burton would revisit for Nightmare
Oh wow.
and Corpse Bride.
Oh.
So he came back to it. This film was supposed to be... Nightmare came out in 93, by the way, not 95.
Okay.
But this was supposed to be a musical, which I wouldn't be mad.
No.
That would have been
But
cool.
I like how it is.
Yeah.
I
So
like how
for
it
my
is now.
final trivia for this movie, I'm going to end out on a good note. Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder dated throughout the filming of this movie and became engaged later that year, 1990.
I love that.
It's very unfortunate that they aren't together today.
I think
Because-
they should be.
Yeah, I think so too. But, things happen.
Yeah.
But I wish they would have stayed together and, Miss Heard wouldn't have happened. Amber Turd wouldn't have beat on him and cut him and stuff. Because, he's the man that made the world think he had scissors for fingers. Do you hear about that one?
Yeah.
In an interview? Like
they're...
is there a single person on
It's a
this
movie.
earth that thought that Edward Scissorhands was real?
I bet you there was some people that were like, oh my god.
Where is he at?
Where's
I
he
need to
at?
stay away from there.
Like probably like some old lady.
Yeah, but not one of us thought that
That was
that
legit.
Edward was real.
No.
Why would you say that in an interview
Why would you
that
say
was
that?
being broadcast to the whole world? Not to mention, why would you touch Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Why would you even think of hurting that beautiful man?
Uh-huh.
But no, I really enjoy this movie. And technically, as we're recording this, October is not over. But
Tomorrow's Halloween.
now that, tomorrow's Halloween. But now that technically, by the time this comes out, October and Halloween's over,
Sad face.
and this is considered a Halloween movie, we still wanted to do it as because it's more of it's a popular movie.
Yeah.
A lot of people know it, and
know it's
we
not
want to
horror,
continue.
but,
It's not technically
We've
horror.
been doing a lot of scary movies.
Yeah.
So.
And we just wanted to keep with the well-known movies for a little bit, at least until after Christmas. That's when we'll start to go into different types of movies. We'll get to that when we sign off for the episode. But what would you rate this movie?
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with you there.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoy everything about this movie.
I think it's a good watch.
Very good.
I put it on randomly when I just feel like
Yeah.
chilling.
Yeah, me
you
too.
know?
I try to watch it every October.
Yeah.
Which we
I've
technically
watched
did
it,
since we watched it today.
A
But
few times this month.
it's a very, very good movie. Johnny Depp is excellent. Winona Ryder is excellent in literally everything, just like Johnny Depp.
Yeah, she did a really good job.
But
I really like her
I
hair.
I really do enjoy this movie for October, for any time of year, really. I'll watch it anytime.
Yeah.
But
I watch it. I usually put it on before bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
Uh-huh.
This is a good directing style, good writing style, good actors. Like, everything about this movie is very good. Tim Burton, Johnny Depp, and Winona Ryder are very excellent in everything, but especially this movie. And being as this is Tim Burton's favorite, kind of shows you why this movie deserves to be talked about.
Yeah. I didn't know that was his favorite, but good to know.
So we're getting towards the end of our recording process here. I think we said it on the last episode of what we want to do. We just want to go a little bit more into detail. So starting after Christmas, we want to do some movies. So we have lined up a bunch of movies. Our next movie for episode 7 is Midsummer. I really, really like this movie, even though I find it a little strange. It's supposed to be, but I really, really enjoy this movie. But we have movies set up for all the way through Christmas. Christmas being our first guest on the show. We still have time to figure out what we want to do microphone wise and set up and everything.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you who it is or what movie we're going to do. We're going to let that be a surprise. But we'll have our first guest come Christmas. And we have everything set up until Christmas. Well, until the end of December, I should say, because one episode comes out before Christmas and one comes out right after. I think the 31st. I forget what the calendar looks like. But so we want to do a recommendation list. So we're going to start writing things down that people recommend to us. We have a lot of movies. I have a friend of mine who wants us to review Sleepaway Camp. There's friends that want us to watch. Uncle Adam wants us to watch Stir of Echoes and stuff, so maybe he would want to be on the podcast for that movie. There's a lot of movies that people keep telling us to watch, which we want to watch, because one of the biggest reasons we did this is because we love horror movies and we've seen a ton. I know personally I've seen a ton, and she had to have seen the same 400 movies that she's watched over and over again. We kind of want to grow our list of horror movies that we've seen. At least I do.
Yeah.
I'd like recommendations.
I'd love to watch more.
Exactly. I want to know what you guys like, and if you guys want to hear our opinions on those movies, just tell us, and we're going to start writing them down and everything. And we'd like to do some movies that are on a list of the world's scariest movies. I know I've seen quite a few.
I'm not watching them alone. I gotta watch them here.
All right. But there are some that on that list that I've watched by myself and I didn't get scared one time. I forget this movie. It was all in Spanish. Not that that's a problem, but like kind of the immersion a little bit for me because I don't speak Spanish. But it's like I watched the movie and I forget, Veronica maybe was the name. Didn't like it at all. And it was and people were like completely terrified of this movie and stuff, but that'll come later on. We also want to do movies that we think are terrible that are in the horror genre, or you might think are terrible that we might like, or we'll just go around watching all kinds of different movies. We might do like 1 week a recommendation, then the next week a terrible movie, kind of like offset it, or we'll figure all that out. We have months to decide what we want to do. But you have anything you want to say before we dip out?
No, I just really enjoyed that one. I really like that one.
Well, I'm having a lot of fun doing this podcast. The thing behind this whole thing is like we record it together, we make decisions together, but I'm kind of like, this is all my equipment and I do all the editing and stuff. But
he's head honcho. I'm just here.
That's kind of, if you guys are kind of confused, we didn't do co-host and host thing. We just kind of jumped into it. I'm Hayden, that's Cicely.
No bigs.
There it is at the end.
No
anyway, that's why we have like the host co-host thing, because it's like my setup and like I'm doing a lot of the stuff for the podcast, but
I'm just here for a good time.
Exactly. But like we've always talked about this for a long time, saying like, we should do a podcast about horror movies and stuff like that.
We should start a YouTube channel.
Or that was the first one. That was like
should,
almost 10 years ago or something.
We should go to like haunted places.
Yeah, that would be funny too.
I would totally do that.
I also got an idea of breaking out into other branches of stuff. So like we could have one podcast of like doing like TV shows and you know what I mean, like our views on other things.
I'm down.
That would be cool too, but we'll have to get a handle on this one first. We'll get into that later.
I want to do the haunted YouTube channel.
That would be pretty cool too.
That'd be so cool.
We also got one where we should do an uncut episode. Just so you know, these episodes usually end up to be 45 to almost an hour long. And you obviously can see that they end up being like 35 minutes because I have to cut out so much bloopers and dumb stuff and breathing. Neither of us can breathe out of our nose, so we're breathing into the mic. And I have to cut a lot of that out. But
neither of us can smell.
Yeah. So if it sounds kind of like weird, that's because we can't smell, and I have to cut a lot of stuff out.
We cannot breathe through our nostrils.
Exactly. So
sucks.
Yeah, we'll get into all that stuff. But next week's Midsummer. Tune in, leave us some ratings, tell us what you want us to do, and thanks for listening.
Yep, thank you. Catch you later.